Salut YouTube and welcome back to the Not Even French channel. I am so excited for today's video because it is all about something that we can all definitely get behind, which is binging series at the moment. And not just any series, but French series. So series that will expose you to the French language so you can feel pretty productive while you're watching them as well, because you're learning or being exposed to the French language and culture. So I'm going to share with you some of the best French series that I have found and enjoyed recently. I'm going to give you a little bit of context, a bit of a review, let you know the language level around about, and give you some tips as well for finding shows that are right down at the beginner level all the way up to more advanced. Now, in order to watch some of these series, you may need to access the French version or even UK or US version of Netflix if you don't have access to that. And there are also a few options I'll talk about that actually stream live and you can watch the replay on French TV. Now, in order to access these sites and French TV like a local, you're going to need what's called a VPN. So the VPN that I use is called NordVPN. They're the sponsor of today's video, which means I've got a super sweet deal for you. But essentially what it allows you to do is allow your computer to think that you are actually physically based in a particular country. So when I want to watch French TV, I select that I'm based in France on my VPN, and it will allow me to access the online French television network. You could do the same for the UK, for the US, wherever you want to watch TV. NordVPN in particular is really easy to use. It's very fast. They've got 5,200 plus servers in 59 different countries. There's no data logging. It's completely secure, and you can have up to 6 simultaneous connections at any one time. So you can definitely share the love as well. So if you are interested in unlocking Netflix and other entertainment websites in different countries around the world, definitely go and check out my link. I've left it down below and it's also showing right here on screen. And you can use the special discount code Not Even French 2 to get a massive discount on the 2-year plan. There's also a free month included in the bundle as well. And honestly, with the special deal, it makes it incredibly cost effective. It's less than $4 a month, so definitely go and check it out. So now that we've got you all set up for success, let's jam on some of the French series that you should definitely be watching right now. Okay, so the first series I want to talk to you guys about is Lupa. If you have not seen this series, you are absolutely missing out. It's actually the first French series to crack the top 10 in the US. It has been a global sensation, despite the fact that people have to watch with subtitles. Now, the name Lupin comes from a fictional character actually in a series of books called Arsène Lupin, who is a gentleman thief and master of disguise. Think, you know, the French version of James Bond or Sherlock Holmes. And this series of books was created in 1905 by Maurice Leblanc, okay, a French writer. And so it's actually quite a cult classic. Now, the premise of this show is that the lead character, who is played by Omar Sy, who is incredible, one of France's best actors. You probably know him already from Les Intouchables. So he, as a young boy and man, became obsessed with this book, who was given to him by his father, and let's just say it's his biggest role model and inspiration, and he is in a way able to become a kind of modern version of this gentleman thief and master of disguise, and gets into all kinds of schemes and situations. Unfortunately, the series only has 5 episodes of 45 minutes each, which is very depressing because it's so good, so addictive. But don't worry, it has been renewed for a season 2. So if you haven't seen it already, you'll definitely want to get all over that. Now, in terms of the language, I would say it is upper intermediate. So it's not super technical nor advanced. The only thing that may come up is a bit of slang, especially Parisian slang, you know, when the characters are interacting between themselves as mates and that kind of thing. But otherwise, the language level is reasonable. And I think if you've been learning French for a while, you could absolutely watch it with the French subtitles. But of course, there are the English subtitles for you there as well if you need. And yeah, overall, I would say it's incredibly enthralling. Omar Sy steals the show. It is so much fun to watch. It's fast, it's action paced, and overall I would give this series for sure 5 stars for anyone interested in French language, French culture, and looking for their favorite new French series. The next series I want to share with you guys is called Mont. Now, this was actually recommended to me by a French friend who lives here in New Zealand. Shout out to DJ. He recommended that I watch Mont, and I got really into the series. Now, the first thing I want to highlight is the name, La Mont. Now, keep an eye out for French series because they often do this. French love a pun, they love a play on words, they love it when there's a double meaning in the title. Now, La Mont actually sounds like Mont, which means, you know, lover, and it can also refer to la mont religieuse, which is the praying mantis. So keep this in mind when you find French series and when you're watching them, because the title can actually give you some kind of clues or undertones in the series itself. I know it's pretty meta. Anyway, so La Mont is based in Paris, and it's about the search for a psychopath there's a spree of murders, and essentially they're copycat murders. They're copycat murders from a female serial killer 25 years ago who's now locked up in prison. And in very Silence of the Lambs style, she actually comes on to the police squad team to help them crack the case, with the plot twist being that one of the police officers and the investigators of these murders is actually her son. Now, fun fact is that the lead actor in this, Fred Testo, actually goes way back with Omar Sy from Lupin. So they had a funny comedy sketch show. You can find it on YouTube. So search Omar et Fred, service après-vente des émissions. If you can understand French and follow along, it is hilarious. So I definitely recommend doing that. So he had to start with Omar Sy. Now he is taking the lead in La Mont. You'll also find Carole Bouquet, who has been in a lot of films and series as well. Niels, I think, quite adeptly described her as a very famous B-class actress. You know, she's kind of like in everything but nothing at the same time, if you know what I mean, but she's actually very famous. And if you have seen the series Marcella, it doesn't have at all the same storyline, but very similar vibes. So if you've watched that, you'll know exactly what I mean. So it's psychological, it's intense, it's very gruesome. So yeah, just trigger warning, there are, you know, you see the images of the murder victims and that kind of thing, but it's extremely good watch. I would say the French is quite advanced, especially because it's very serious. They're talking about crime, and they're talking about, I don't know, there's sort of like a higher register of conversation and language, you know, trying to piece things together and that kind of thing. And so that results in, for me, in a more advanced level of French. I definitely have the subtitles on when I'm watching this series. But overall, it's a great series, really liked it. I'd give it 4 stars and really recommend that you check it out. By the way, this might actually be a really good moment to mention. In the last video I did on this kind of topic, a subscriber actually suggested an awesome Google Chrome extension. Actually, it's just a browser extension, whether you're using, you know, Firefox, Chrome, whatever it is. It's a plugin that you can put into your browser completely free, and it's called Language Learning for Netflix and YouTube. And with this browser extension, I can actually watch Netflix or YouTube or whatever it is, and where possible, it will come up with both the French subtitles and the English on top. So you can have both languages of your choosing, and there are so many languages to choose from, but simultaneously on the screen as well, which is amazing for language learners. So I just wanted to let you know that that exists as well. Okay, so the next series really blew my expectations out of the water. I clicked on it because of the title. I was curious. It's called Inhuman Resources. So working in human resources my whole career, you know, 10 years in corporate HR and recruitment roles, I was obviously intrigued by the title. But what I found inside was a brilliant and captivating French series that I don't think I've heard many people talking about. So the lead in the series is actually the football star Eric Cantona. So he was huge in the 90s. He played for Manchester United. He's a French footballer. And he's quite a big character. He always has an opinion on everything. He's got a very thick Marseille accent, and over time, he's evolved into what I think is a really brilliant actor. And so he plays a character called Ellen, and Ellen is really down and out. He's over 50 years old, and he's recently lost his role in recruitment in human resources, basically due to his age, and that being a source of bias and discrimination. And so he's lost his job, and for the past 6 years, he has been on chômage, on the unemployment, trying to get back into corporate, into his HR career, but just being you know, hitting against a brick wall basically because of his age and age discrimination. And this story really spoke to me because having worked in human resources, I can think of 1,000 different Ellens, you know, and so I was captivated by the storyline. And so he is in this apartment that's falling apart, doing these, you know, petits jobs, as they call them in French, little jobs, you know, doing night shifts in factories, just picking up work wherever he can get it, even though, you know, it's far below his level of competence and that kind of thing. But he's doing his best, but he's really struggling to make ends meet. He's in a lot of debt. The stress and the lack of confidence and the depression is affecting his relationship with his wife, with his children. There's a moment where he gets a breakthrough, where there's a particular firm recruiting for an HR manager for a factory, and they're going to need to lay off over 1,000 different people. So it's a brutal role, but they're looking for someone with that resilience who's really tough and will be able to do that job. And he actually gets a call back for the role, and he goes through this interview process. But to be able to find the right person, they go through quite a brutal and strange recruitment process with all different kinds of screwed up role plays and stuff like that. I don't want to give too much away, but I think this is a real underdog series. The first 3 episodes were incredible, super enthralling. I do feel from there things got a little bit confused maybe in the storyline at times, but overall I absolutely loved it. I think I'm going to land on an advanced level of French for the language, kind of like Le Mont, because he does have that thick Marseille accent firstly, and just the register of language. It's a little bit more complex, so it's definitely more of an advanced watch. But overall, I would give this series 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. All right, so the next French series that you can find on Netflix that I would like to share with you is Marseille. Now, Marseille, I had heard good things, and to be honest, you know, Niels is from the south, from around that area. His mum lives in Marseille, so it's kind of like, oh, I'll see some nice shots of the city. And you do, there are plenty of drone shots of the city. But I didn't really care as much about what the storyline or the content would be. I was just sort of open-minded and like, let's see what would happen. I personally would describe this as a hate watch. You know those series where you hate it, but you keep watching it anyway? So it is a good watch in that you want to see what happens next and see the storyline evolve and all of that good stuff. But oh my gosh, there are things about the series that I just didn't like. It's a real soap opera style, so there's like no subtlety in the acting whatsoever. There are no strong female leads. I found the series incredibly misogynistic. Like the females were all like pandering to and desperate for sometimes like really ugly men, like as if, you know, these women just desperate to be basking in the light of powerful men kind of thing, and I just really didn't dig that. The lead actor is Gérard Depardieu, who is an absolute monument in French cinema. Like, he's a grand actor, but he's definitely not the kind of person I think I would ever gel with. Like, he's just a very strange character in real life. And the more I know about him, the more I'm like, I can't separate the two. Like, he's lost a lot of popularity in recent years because, well, firstly, he, you know, relinquished his French nationality to pick up a Russian passport to avoid paying taxes and is all buddy-buddy with Putin. He's a non-alcoholic. He's recently had rape allegations brought to him from a very young woman, a young actress. So it's really hard because he's so talented, but then you've got the character and the person he is off screen, which just makes it, you know, fuels the hate watch as well. I know I'm probably not selling you on the series. A lot of people loved it. I still wanted to include it here because I think it is a prominent French series, a good opportunity to practice your French. The storyline is interesting, but just putting it out there, that's how I felt about the series. So I'm only going to give this series 1 star. Maybe I can be a bit more generous and give it 2 stars. The level of French is advanced. You know, it's about politics, it's about corruption, it's about crime. It's quite serious. You have to connect the dots at times to follow. So it's definitely an advanced level of French. But yeah, if you've already watched the series, I'd love to hear what you thought of it down below and just see if I'm the only one who felt like that. So those are my Netflix series wrapped up, but I did want to give you a couple more options, especially if you're more beginners in French, because this hack could be game changing. So using the NordVPN, head to France.tv. This will give you so many series and shows to choose from that you can watch, but I definitely recommend going to the children's section. You can watch Noddy, you can watch Peppa Pig, you can watch Fireman Sam, you can watch children's shows in French with the subtitles, and I think that is amazing, especially if you are a beginner in French. I just think it's really, really cool, so I definitely recommend doing that. And another thing that you can do is go to the TF1 website, TF1. It's another big television network in France, and they've got a huge section of reality TV. So all of the basic reality TV kind of shows, like the equivalent of Super Nanny, Survivor. The French version is called Koh-Lanta. Shouting out Kate from Unintentionally Frenchified, because I know she became fluent in French partially through binging this series. Like all the standards, right? Like about celebrity mums, like all of that kind of stuff is there, and the French version of that too. And so for beginners and beginners intermediate, that's another really good option for binging stuff, as crappy as it may be, but like quickly absorbing the language and the day-to-day conversational stuff as well. So I definitely wanted to share that with you because your VPN can actually give you access to those sites. So I hope that you enjoyed my review of these series. I would love to hear your suggestions of great French series to watch and check out as well in the comments below, because I'm kind of running dry at the moment. So would definitely love to hear some suggestions from you. Let me know which ones you're gonna go and check out as well. And otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I'll see you here next time on the Not Even French channel. À bientôt!